Anthony Richardson was one of the most polarizing college prospects of all time. Some thought that he was going to be a bust because of his subpar production and mediocre college tape, but others thought that his insane physical tools would help him to become one of the most talented quarterbacks in NFL history. The Indianapolis Colts took a chance on him with the 3rd overall pick in the 2023 draft, but unfortunately, we weren't able to get all of the answers that we wanted about how good he actually is. Luckily for us, we did get to see him play in a few games, so today we're going to analyze that tape and attempt to answer the question, how good is Anthony Richardson really? The first thing that we need to consider is the context of his season. He won the starting job in camp and was the starter for week 1 of the season, which came as a bit of a surprise to most fans. He was thought of as a raw prospect coming out of college, but the Colts decided that he wasn't going to get better unless he saw in-game reps. So he played in week 1, but wasn't able to play for weeks 2 and 3 because of a concussion that he suffered, and he was able to return for week 4 and part of week 5 before suffering a season-ending shoulder injury. He had a 2-2 record in games that he appeared in and finished with 577 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception through the air to go with 136 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. So if we combine his 2 injured games and say that he played roughly 3 games, we can determine that he was pacing for about 3,264 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions through the air, and 770 yards and a whopping 22 touchdowns on the ground. Obviously, this was a super small sample size, and there was no chance that he was going to finish with that many touchdowns in a full 17-game season. But all of this is to say that he was producing quite well statistically before he went down with his injury, especially for a rookie. But what about his tape? Many didn't think that he looked like a good player at Florida, but did he pass the eye test with the Colts? Well, when I watched his tape, I thought it was a mixed bag overall, but there was a lot to like. For starters, his rushing ability is as insane as it was advertised to be. He's borderline unstoppable in the red zone and on RPOs, and it's clear that opposing defenses have to go to great lengths to stop him from running all over them. He's already a top 3 dual threat quarterback in the entire NFL, in my opinion. He also really impressed me with his movement and poise in the pocket. He plays with no fear and will stand tall to deliver a throw in the pocket while under pressure, and he's already well above average at avoiding sacks. Usually that's not something that rookie quarterbacks are very good at, so it's really encouraging to see that he's already ahead of the curve in that area. And of course, we know that his arm talent is incredible, and he just proved that even more by making several insane throws over the course of his few games. When he really gets in the zone and just lets it rip, he's capable of making throws that most other quarterbacks in the NFL simply aren't able to. That trait should remain consistent, even with the shoulder injury that he suffered last year. The fact that he didn't have a very good supporting cast makes this even more impressive. Yeah, the offensive line was pretty good, and he did have Michael Pittman Jr. to throw to, but that was about it. Josh Downs showed some promise, but he was a rookie and wasn't exactly taking over games. But in 2024, he'll still have Pittman and Downs to throw to, but now the team added rookie Adonai Mitchell to the offense, who many consider to be a first-round talent and a top 5 wideout in this draft class. Beyond that, Anthony Richardson is going to get to play with Jonathan Taylor for essentially the first time in 2024, which is going to be a serious problem for defenses. It's hard enough to defend the run when it's just one of Richardson or JT, but if they both can stay healthy, they might have the top rushing attack in all of football this year. So clearly there's a lot to be excited about with Richardson, even if he's only played in 3 real games. But his rookie season was far from just sunshine and rainbows. There's some real things that do concern me with his long-term development. It's time to talk about the elephant in the room, which is his injury situation. In the first 5 weeks of NFL football for him, he suffered a minor knee injury, a concussion that knocked him out for a couple of weeks, and a major shoulder injury that forced him to miss the remainder of his rookie season. Sure, a lot of times injuries are flukes and hard to avoid, but Richardson's play style is what really opened things up for him to get hurt. He runs the ball a lot, but he rarely ever slides and often seeks out contact or sacrifices his body to gain a few extra yards. This was a problem coming out of college, and it proved to be a real concern in his first season, and it doesn't sound like he's planning on changing very much. When asked about his injuries and if he was going to change his play style to avoid them, he said, quote, "Changing my game and my play style? I don't feel like there's anything wrong with my play style. I don't know if I'm going to change my game, but being smarter for the team, of course." So it's tough to say whether or not injuries will continue to plague him down the line, but we can confidently say that he is at increased risk of injury because of the way that he plays the game. Beyond that, all of the other negatives in his game can be summed up in one word: consistency. Most times he's accurate, but sometimes he makes really bad throws. Most times he makes the right read, but sometimes he makes a really bad decision. If he can just cut down on those really bad plays, he could be so much better than he already is. There's no one major weak point in his game, but it's all about becoming more consistent, especially as a passer. So, to give a final verdict after considering all of this, I think it's clear to say that Anthony Richardson could quite easily be a top 5 quarterback in the entire NFL by the end of this year. And I like his chances to have a breakout season, especially with the improvements that the Colts made on offense this offseason. I think that he's the most physically gifted quarterback in the entire NFL right now, and about the only thing that can stop him at this point is injuries. But those are a very real concern for him, which was as plain as day in his first few weeks of his rookie season. If he can stay healthy and the team surrounds him with weapons, chances are he'll end up being a dominator. If he continues to struggle with injuries and can't stay on the field long enough to fix his inconsistencies, he'll pretty quickly fizzle out and never reach his potential. I like his chances for this upcoming season, and I'm excited to watch and see if he can develop into the all-time great that he was always meant to be. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a new drop. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, goodbye.